In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the moonteapodcast. We are your co-hosts, John and Hugh, and welcome. Today, we're not totally sure what we're going to talk about, but let's jump into it anyways. How's it going, Hugh?
Good. Doing well. What about you, John?
Yeah, doing all right.
Long time no see.
Oh yeah. That's just such a long time. It's once a week. It's a pleasure. Yeah, you doing all right? Like in general?
Yeah, I'm doing fine actually. Been a fun week. Been writing a lot more to-do lists from last episode. Actioning that. Been really good. I don't think you are gonna get away with it. You also have to have at least one recipe said by the end of this episode. A John Kim recipe.
I can wing it.
All right, well, you can pull it out sometime. Now, middle, or at the end.
Yeah. Well, today is April 14th, 2021. Coinbase just went public. We're not really like experts in IPOs or like Coinbase or anything, but let's talk about it. It's kind of interesting. Like it's the first publicly traded company that primarily does crypto stuff. And so it's kind of like crypto being a little bit more mainstream, and the fact that, I mean, it looks like the IPO went relatively well. Like the fact that it went pretty well is an indication of like this idea that crypto is going mainstream. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
What's the market cap?
So right now, looks like the market cap is 65 billion. And the share price is 344. Did it go up? I don't know.
I think it was supposed to be released at 250, and then of course it went to the public at a high like 360, went up and then down, and now it's like 340 in after hours. That's not too bad. It's a good little start for him.
Cool. Yeah. What's interesting is that at least from my perspective, like if you're betting on the Bitcoin ecosystem and you don't have any restrictions on your funds, which we could talk about that later, then it seems like way more straightforward just to buy Bitcoin. So I think in the last year or like the last few months, I'll just kind of like look at other potential investments, and then I'll always be like, oh, but would this potentially go up more than Bitcoin would? And I've just been like, yeah, I don't think so. And so it's been unfortunate where I compare like every asset to Bitcoin, and then I just end up buying Bitcoin. So yeah, that's where my money's been going, like definitely the last like 8 months, maybe. So yeah, I have a fancy job, but like very little money in my checking account. So it's the curse of knowing, of like understanding the value proposition of Bitcoin, or at least one of the value propositions. Yeah.
What's the Bitcoin market cap right now? 1 trillion, 2 trillion. No, crypto market cap surpasses 2 trillion. Bitcoin's around 1 trillion, right? It's amazing. And it went up today to what, 63K instead of 58,000? Yeah, so it's even higher than 1 trillion now. It's crazy.
So it's probably like 1.15, 1.2. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's amazing. Yeah, 2.21 trillion is the total market cap, and Bitcoin is now 1.17 trillion. And then
Cool.
Ethereum is behind it at 282 billion. Wow.
Nice.
Amazing. Amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
So what do we want to do today? I remember we were playing with some ideas about diving into more crypto stuff. Do you want to do some of that, or do you want to do something else? What are you feeling? Last week I kind of went down a rabbit hole for self-improvement. I don't know what it is, but
Mm-hmm.
self-optimization. But this week, what do you want to do?
Nothing. I mean, I don't know. No overarching agenda or anything, but uh, yeah. I mean, crypto's been important, like kind of interesting to me, but not like anything more than 2 weeks ago. But uh, I'm also thinking about kind of thinking about like how to not be distracted all the time. I feel like I've been doing a really bad job of that. So maybe just like lifestyle stuff. Um,
Let's talk about it. What's distracting you? What's up? Then we can dive into some crypto, I guess.
um, yeah, I mean, what's frustrating is the last like few weeks, I wake up and then I look at my phone and then just kind of like I don't have a personal Instagram account. I don't have Facebook, but then I'll find myself scrolling Reddit and like looking at memes and like cute animals and stuff. And I think that's time well spent, but then maybe not at like so much frequency throughout the day. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm not getting the 8 hours per night on most days that I wish I was. It's more like 7. And so yeah, I think I need to do some things to address that. Um, doing a float tank tomorrow again.
Oh, I've never done those. That's amazing. The ones where it's like full black, all sound gone, you just float in it.
Yeah, there's some
Oh,
sound, but usually it's pretty quiet. And the idea is that there's about 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt, and you just go inside this container thing, and the water is so dense that it makes you float, and so you just end up like hanging out there for some time, and I find it really relaxing. Like it's not cheap, but it's worth it for me. It's kind of like a super meditation. Um, so I'm doing that tomorrow, and then I'm like looking around at different massage places, see if I can utilize my insurance. But uh, yeah, like it would be cool to get like a monthly massage from someone who like does it professionally.
dude,
So yeah.
definitely. Physical therapy is one good entry for that if you want it covered by insurance too. Get some pretty good pricing on there. And they do a lot of different micro exercises too. I don't know if you have any lower back issues or knee pains or anything. It's a good one from
Do you
climbing and stuff.
do you do physical therapy?
I used to. Family and friends have done it and do it, and yeah, they're really really talented, and it's really interesting actually. They're even starting to do. It's called needling, but it's really acupuncture,
Mm.
but in a westernized form. And they have a lot of different modalities that they start to integrate. And they do a really good amount of massaging and muscle treatment and stuff like that. I have some friends that have gone down that rabbit hole a bit more, and there's like really interesting different types of therapy modalities. But I'd have to ask them again. I could
Hmm.
if you wanted to, but yeah, I know you can probably get that as an easier cover in a fair way if you have back pain or anything than just going to a straight masseuse.
Yeah, I went earlier this week, and I think they treat a lot of people who like are recovering from injuries and stuff, and they asked me like, "Oh, are you here for anything?" And I was just like, "Oh, I don't know, like maybe just like a relaxing massage. Like, am I in the wrong place?"
All right, yeah, if it's just that, then maybe not. But if you ever have any aches and pains, no, I
Yeah.
just heard the story from one of my closest friends, Thomas. He was telling me about how he started to get carpal tunnel, and he's like, I couldn't write very well or use a mouse or play even some computer games if he plays a bit of computer games. And he then went to a therapist, a physical therapist, and maybe a masseuse. I don't remember, but they were working on his back. He had a bit of a lower back pain and the wrist and stuff. And they weren't really looking at the wrist, but just kind of for something else. He was trying to treat his lower back pain. And so he was doing a lot of exercises. And he was saying that over X amount of time, I don't know the exact details, maybe a few weeks after doing these reparatory exercises, there was one day where he just felt his hip click into place as he was doing an exercise. And he felt chills go down up his back and down his arm to his wrist where the carpal tunnel is. And it just felt numb and it buzzed. And then he said, whoa, no more carpal tunnel. So yeah, so supposedly, and his girlfriend was a professional golfer, right? And she was really deep into the physical therapy and body treatment type things to take care of your body as a pro golfer. And she was like, yeah, I mean, this makes total sense. The body's connected in so many different ways that we don't realize from head to toe. And she's a really big believer in, stretching and therapy. So I was like, whoa, that's really cool. Lower back equals fixing carpal tunnel for Thomas.
Wow.
And he's never
That's
had a problem
amazing.
since. It just came a
Wow.
moment. Yeah. I'm like, that's hard to believe, but I believe it because I believe you. That's amazing.
Yeah, that sounds super cool. Yeah, I've just been trying to look more into health and wellness stuff. So if there's something that can help me sleep a little bit better, or like meditate a little bit better, or maybe like track my workouts, but without too much effort, then I'm like willing to look into all of those. So yeah, that's what I've been uh trying to do lately. But
There's an app that I found that was kind of interesting. And I think it was called like Plants or something. You plant a tree and you can legitimately plant a tree. So if you set a goal, you can't change out of the app if you start a session. And when you complete that, it goes to your bank to plant a tree. After X amount of sessions, you actually have a tree planted in some country. But you can also add in, I always thought those are the fun ones where if you fail it, you can actually tax yourself with like a penalty of a money fee.
oh,
So I think
huh.
that could be an interesting one for if you're trying to do some exercise or something. I was playing with that idea. I was like, oh, maybe I'll try it one day, but to-do list for now.
Yeah. Uh, your tree app tangent reminded me of something that is another tangent, which is this idea of time preference. And uh, yeah, and I'm I'm curious once I present it how you think about it. So the idea behind time preference is that you have a certain, like, your time, you value your time at a certain amount,
Hmm.
uh, but at the same time, like, if you know that whatever resource is going to be worth more in the future, like, there's kind of a balance between you want to have more of that resource in the future, and yet you still want to have like some nice experience or some nice thing or some nice meal right now. And so if someone has low time preference, that means they are willing to wait a long time in order for like them a decade from now to be better off. And if you have high time preference, then you want to have that cool thing right now. And maybe that's people who quit jobs easily, who are living paycheck to paycheck, but doing really cool things. Super general statement. Um, but according to the author of the Bitcoin Standard, he thinks time preference is like probably one of the more important ideas in the study of economics, and he like includes that as a section in all of his classes. And he's an econ professor, or he was an econ professor, and then now he like does his own classes. But I'm curious how you think about it, because that's something I've been kind of curious about, because like yeah, like on one hand, like I do want me a decade into the future to be well off, but I'm like at the same time I'm trying to make myself today like more comfortable, and like and in some ways like more equipped or like more educated. So I'm trying to like find that balance. Is that making sense to you?
Yeah.
So yeah, what are you optimizing for? Which time preference, like, how are you thinking about it?
Initial gut feeling for it is just balancing it. And I think, yeah, no, let's unpack it. First of all, there are friends that I have that I think do it really well, and I kind of envy how they do it. One of them, he just went to Mount Fuji and snowboarded there, and or went to Hawaii, and I'm like, wow, that's a really cool. And they finding really cheap tickets too,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think that's a really cool way to spend money. And I haven't been doing that as much. I've kind of like not been adventuring out nearly as much. With regards to how I just perceive it at a high level of time preference and money preference, I like to think about it. Let's see, how do you break it down? The Eisenhower matrix is something I really like, where
I haven't heard of that before.
it's a 4-quadrant system, and the top left quadrant is uh, I'll have to look it up. I'll butcher it, but it's basically there's things you do, things you delegate, things you do like way later or something, and then things you never do. And then I think that type of idea also stems into the idea of there are people out there that say, I will never do any work at all that is below $500 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's anything below that, then they will pay for someone to do that or outsource it. For me, I'm definitely not at like that type of level, but I do find that there are moments where you're like, oh, okay, that's like kind of an interesting idea. I think it happens, especially as one who helps out around the house a lot. A lot of our yard breaks down. The PVC, the polytubing, is starting to get a bit old. It's over 20 years old. Usually polytubing only lasts 20 years. And I was getting quotes from yard contractors on how much it would take to replace our whole irrigation system. And I was getting quotes between 1 to 3,000, and it's just so much.
Mm-hmm.
And they would say it takes about 3 days of work. So then if you like calculate labor, yada, yada, you're like, okay. But with that type of thing, I feel like I'll probably try to figure out how to do that on my own, even though, 3 hours of my labor, I don't know, it's definitely not that much worth that much, but I still probably won't spend that type of, I don't know, I wouldn't spend that money. But then there are things where even on the smaller scale of like a $20 fix, I'd do that for like the restroom or a car fix. But I guess it depends. For me, on a micro scale, it depends on how much time it takes me, how much interest I have in learning about the problem and fixing it,
Yeah.
plus how much money it would cost. And then that would equate to whether or not I would do it. And then at a more macro scale, on the time horizon. A lot of what I do, and I think you and I both are very similar, is we don't really keep a lot of just fiat or US in the bank, right? But you'd either invest it in securities or crypto securities and or tokens. And so that's kind of where I've been doing it. But I also am trying to figure out right now how to find a middle ground where I don't just put all of that away, where I'm like, oh, how do I have a kind of an FU fund where I'm just like, I'll just throw this money down if and when I want to. Like if I see a flight for $97 to Seattle, see ya, I'll be there, right? But or someone says, hey, let's go to Tokyo. Okay, if I can. I don't know how much that would be, but I'm still trying to figure out a good balance there. And I don't think I have been going out as much, but I've been finding good things that are kind of low cost, kind of camping and fun to do with people, and it's been really nice. And then hanging with friends and stuff. But
yeah, I think the key thing you said is if it's something that I want to do. So that's for me, that's the thing that makes like the huge difference. Like,
or if I can afford it, because I can't afford 1 to 3K polytubing fixes, right, for the house. You're like, oh my God. So even if I don't want to fix it, I don't want to do the yard, but I'm gonna have to go trench my whole yard, fix all the solenoids, map everything onto it, and put the whole irrigation system in. But it'll save 1 to 3K, right?
Wow, he is an irrigation expert now.
Dude, this yard is amazing but terrible. We have an orange tree, lemon tree, grapefruit tree, fig tree, dragon fruit tree, loquat tree. But the polytubing is going bad on a lawn, right? Oh, annoying. Thank God for Home Depot or Lowe's.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So
what's your time horizon though? I didn't ask you.
Oh, so I think when I was 23, so that's probably around when you met me. I think I was like super low time horizon or super low time preference, which meant that I was willing to like save a couple bucks here and there so that future me would be better off. And then
when I first met John, he was in a closet, sleeping in a closet. And I was like, this guy is amazing, because that's what you do in San Francisco.
Why did you? I thought we met at another time, but I didn't realize you were like watching me when I was sleeping in my closet.
I think I saw your room like 2 times. I was like, this is kind of amazing. Very simple, minimalistic. And I was like, I love it. That was when you were coming over to play like music at Craig's. And we would just have like singing sessions.
Yeah, that was great. That was cool. Do you still hang out with Craig?
No, but I text him every now and then, wishing a happy birthday or something. That's the guy. He's a very interesting guy. I loved him.
Yeah. He might be out of scope for our podcast, but so it'd be an interesting
sad.
For the 1 or 2 listening out there, Craig organizes like sex conferences,
BDSM conferences.
Yeah.
He just like organizes like 4 of the largest in the country, and he was my landlord. And I rented a room from his place. He's like in his 40s, really nice guy, made great food, so down to earth, played so many cool instruments, really cultured, really, really intelligent. But the way he made his living was just a very unique thing.
And it was a good living too, and he was honest about it, and yeah, it was just very different from I guess my circles at the time, and now as well. My circles anytime, actually. Also, I predict my circles like 10 years from now. So
that's really funny. This I don't know. Did I ever tell you? And we're not gonna go into it, But one time I went and helped set up for one of his conventions. I didn't really
Oh, okay.
participate or anything, but it was very interesting. I was like, wow, this is the furthest I'll probably for many decades in my life, but it was cool.
It was the furthest that you'll
Cool.
get to what?
Go down that rabbit hole.
I see.
They had very interesting. It was very interesting. I respect the community. It was a lot of people, and they're really good at communication. If there's anything you'd learn from that type of community, it's they're incredibly good at communicating, and as they have to be. And it's like I'm impressed. You know,
Yeah, because it's all you need consent, right? Or else you
Lots.
won't be invited back.
That and a safe word.
Oh, okay. Well, that's funny. Um, but back to the question. So yeah, I think from like 23, 24, 25, I was very much like, how can I have an awesome experience and kind of like at the lowest cost? And so it kind of became this game, and which led to a lot of cool memories and some cool experiences, but also like I look back and I'm like, oh man, like I did what to save a few bucks? Like, oh man,
San
so
Francisco was a
sad.
weird time, wasn't it?
But also, yeah, also living in San Francisco and not making like right out of college at the start of our careers. So it's kind of what you had to do to survive. But yeah, but now what's interesting is I'm like, yeah, I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to like stress out about every expense. I'm I'm gonna eat a nice meal when I feel like eating a nice meal, and like if I can like make time for whatever trip, then like I'll do that as well. But I I like don't mind as much if I like spend most of my money after a month. Like it's really weird. Or not even like that, but like I just I guess I realized like, oh, my 20s are going by, and like maybe I do want to have a washer dryer in the apartment, and maybe I don't want to be like carrying my clothes 2 blocks away to a laundromat, and like maybe my time is worth a little bit more to me. And so like
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily right now, but like over the past year or so, I've been like kind of like making more and more of those trade-offs. It's been interesting. I guess that's part of growing up, and like as you hopefully move forward in your career. But at the same time, it's kind of like, oh, at this rate, like I have to keep like on this career path. Like I won't be able to keep my lifestyle and like be a barista. So
Unless
yeah,
you make a really, really hip coffee joint.
yeah, yeah. Unless, yeah, I guess there's always a way around it. But yeah, just some stuff I think about. Um,
That makes a lot of sense. I definitely hear you on that. I think it's a really good idea, whether a really interesting conversation, thought process of whether or not you should get a washer and dryer instead of walking the 2 blocks, because that's a consistent action that is a repeated process over X amount of, time every week or two. And then how much time is that? And yeah, sometimes it's just a pain, like, especially if you don't like doing it. Some people love it. Some people find that, I'm sure, find that cathartic, right?
I mean,
But
you should love doing it at your own house.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but I know what you mean.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Some people like the community maybe. Could remember like Brainwash Cafe in Soma, where it's a laundromat and a stand-up comedy place with a sandwich parlor in the same thing. Yeah.
I never went. That sounds cool though.
They're really fun stand-up.
Oh,
Yeah, that's so interesting. I never heard about it talked about in the sense of the terminology of time preference and time horizons. I really like that. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah, like it's basically like, how much of a baller do you want to be when you're like 70 years old if you make it that far?
Yeah, yeah,
But then,
yeah,
at the extreme level, it's like, it's probably not the right choice to make. Like, you probably want to have some experiences when you're young. But then on the other extreme level, like, you probably want to have some safety net when you're 70. So yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it's definitely a balance, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. We're uh we're not horrible people and somewhat functioning people. So
yeah. That there's two
yeah.
things that I think about. One, I've always wanted to talk to you about it on here, maybe go more into detail because I'm still figuring it out, right? I've only, you know, had a job that I've genuinely enjoyed for about a year and half now, and
Cool. That's awesome though.
right, yeah, I'm pretty
Mhm.
happy about that. But with that, you've got the things where I've never invested really or had the ability to put money in savings like 401ks, Roth IRAs.
Mhm.
And yeah, one day I remember talking to you about this previously, and I was like, oh, yeah, I definitely want to ask you more one day of your thoughts on, since we're not financial advisors, of course, but I just remember talking to you about it. Do you have any preferences on your saving streams other than crypto that you put your things into? I guess like my company doesn't do 401k matching and such, but I'm
Mhm.
probably going to try to save up some and put it in. I think what is the max per year for a 401k is 19,000. And of course, I'm not
It's
going to get to that and max it out.
19,500 right now.
19,500. Cool, cool, cool. And then what about like a Roth IRA? Of course, I can Google this, but it's kind of a fun one.
6,500,
Okay. And is there
I
another
think,
one
or
other than,
6,000. One of those.
and then
Is
there's
there
an
another?
IRA, right? Roth IRA and then IRA, or is there's a
Yeah,
pre-tax and a post-tax one, right?
the limit is for both.
Oh, okay. 6,500. And which one is better? The Roth IRA is better because it's post-tax. Like when you pull it out, you get taxed. No, pre-tax. I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah, so what's better depends on your situation.
Oh, really? Is
Yeah.
that a thing? Really? Well,
Hmm.
why?
Why?
Yeah.
Depends on which income bracket you expect yourself to maybe be in the future, and it depends on your expectations of the market, um, and a few other things.
Interesting.
Because like
For
the
oh, wow.
yeah, because a Roth IRA is post tax money that grows tax free, and a traditional IRA is pre tax money that gets taxed when you take it out.
Hmm.
And yeah, like if you think the market is going to grow a crazy amount for the next 10 years, then maybe you want to do the traditional IRA. Or maybe if you expect to be in a higher income bracket in however many years, then maybe you want to do the uh, traditional, or I don't know. But
Oh, interesting. Oh,
I
interesting.
think most people should do the Roth IRA.
Yeah, that makes. I feel like that's what I've heard. Usually, most people are like, go for a Roth IRA prioritization before the IRA, but I've never heard about it of whether or not you think you're going to be in a really high tax bracket or something. Huh.
Yeah, it just uh yeah, but there's like a right way to do all of that. Um yeah, yeah. I think there was a flow chart which I don't know where it is, but then the flow chart was something like, does your company do 401k matching? And it's like, okay, then put in the amount until that match. And then after that, like, max out your Roth IRA. And then
Oh, was
just
this that tweet you once sent me? The photo of the guy who wrote it on a card, like that Reddit hack?
uh
Uh,
yeah,
he's
but
like this.
that wasn't the exact thing. I don't remember
Hmm.
what it is, but yeah, I think there is a right way for most people.
If you find it, send it to me. Do you do a a percent allocation or anything. You know how you do dollar cost averaging and such. But if you get X paycheck in the next time, do you have 40% go to this, 5% go to that, 10% go to that? Or do you just say, by the end of the year, I want this much in my Roth IRA, this much in my 401k, and the rest would have gone into securities or crypto or whatever other investment vehicles?
It changes based on the year. So I don't,
Oh, interesting.
yeah. Sorry
Hmm.
to say I don't have a sophisticated system other than what the company account and taxes take out automatically, or like the 401k, like what it
Oh,
automatically takes out.
it does. That's cool. Mine doesn't do that.
Oh,
Interesting.
you put it in manually?
I don't have a 401k.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my last company got a 401k at the end of the year.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I need to set this all up myself. And I know people have been like, if you had invested when you're 22 or 23, 5,500, you'd be a millionaire. And I'm like, I didn't have that money to invest at all. like I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think that's even easy now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. If
Yeah.
you're like 22 making that would be so nice. But yeah, it's hard.
I think if you're uh if you think you're in a high tax bracket right now and you do not expect your company to have a 401k by the end of the year, then maybe you want to do it in a traditional 401k. In fact, you can still contribute for 2020.
Really? Oh, but
Yeah,
you
I
wouldn't
think
get
by
it
like,
tax back or anything because one would have already filed.
oh yeah, if you already did it, then in that case you can do a Roth IRA for last
Interesting.
year
Okay. Is there any other
if you
investment
wanted
vehicles
to.
I'm missing? So 401k, Roth IRA, securities, bonds, um, and crypto, and I guess
Uh,
a savings account at a 0.01% interest. What other ways are there to invest money?
I mean, I guess that's generally the whole universe of things.
Mm,
Um,
at least for Americans, right? Because other people wouldn't have
yeah,
401ks. But yeah.
there's other stuff, but like I don't do any of it. Like there's like certificate of deposits, like CDs.
Oh,
So it's
oh, CDs.
basically a
Yeah.
bond,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but I I yeah, I just have mine set up and then it like automatically does everything.
Those are low risk but low return, low interest back, like 2 to 4%, right? Usually.
Yeah, yeah. I I don't think they're, at least for like you and me, I don't think they're worth looking into. My dad has a few and I've been trying to get him to like
Let me
not have
guess.
them anymore.
Yeah, go into something else. That's one.
Um
Did you
but
ever get
yeah.
your parents into crypto? I know you and I were talking about trying to convince our parents since like last year to get them to invest a bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Nice, nice. I got my dad. My dad owns a bit of Ethereum right now.
Oh
Just a
wow.
little bit. I got him
That's
on
awesome.
Coinbase and
Wow.
yeah, we were waiting for a little dip to get a bit of a Bitcoin for him. Yeah, dude, you have to like do KYC for those who don't know, know your business, know your customer. So KYC for Coinbase. And it was just so great for me. I had to take like a photo of his driver's license and upload it. And I'm like, whoever is there approving it, it's most likely autonomous or automated. But if there was a person clicking through on Coinbase, yes, this photo looks like the name and stuff, they'd be like, wow, this 92-year-old dude is getting in the crypto game. That's badass.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to hear your dad's hot take on the crypto market after he's read like everything about it.
Yeah, and I've been slowly but surely trying to convince him over time, and it's been fun. Recently, I've been seeing him. I taught him how to use an iPhone. Got him an iPhone about 2 years ago, and now he's like Googling like a teen.
Nice.
And
Wow.
there are
On
moments where I
TikTok.
see the cached. Yeah, no, just Google and some the stocks thing. But it's fun to see that he types in Google the way he uses it. He just says Bitcoin price or Tesla price, or maybe a few other
Nice.
securities, but those are the main ones. Like, right on.
Hey, you guys did well with Tesla.
Yeah, right back at you. Tesla's been a fun one. Tesla's been
Yeah,
good.
fun
Long and
fun
hold.
18 months.
Been
Yeah.
a fun time. Oh
um
man.
yeah, but the personal finance stuff, I think, yeah, I think can be pretty simple. um like I just do 401k, and then my company has the high deductible health insurance, so we have like an HSA thing,
Oh,
so I
nice.
contribute to that as well.
Cool.
Yeah,
I love
nothing
it.
like all that
Yeah, yeah,
interesting.
yeah. No, I think that's fantastic. And then the rest are into securities, and that's where it goes. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out for my life how to learn about money and where it comes from. Yesterday, there was a really interesting thing. So Thomas and Julie is becoming a finance guru, and she's
Oh
getting her
yeah.
finance major right now. And one of the questions that was asked of them was, what's the similarity between the, I guess they call them a discount. I didn't know this, a 4%
Hmm.
discount for when you buy a car and get a loan on it, and a loan for a HELOC or a home equity line of credit,
Hmm.
or a mortgage, maybe not a HELOC, maybe it was a mortgage. But and why are they both the 4% was the question, as the example in the question, I guess. And I had to think about it. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Do you trick
wait
question?
the Wait, the question was, what's the difference between a discount of 4%
Yeah, so I guess
versus,
what I'm guessing a 4% discount means is a 4% interest rate. I don't know exactly. I'll have to
or
look
does
it up.
it
But
does it mean it's 4% cheaper to buy
mm-mm,
the car? No.
no, I don't think that was it. I think it was 4% on a loan when you buy a car if you're paying it off month over month, and
Hmm.
a 4% interest rate on a home mortgage or something like that. Like, why were they similar?
Why are they similar?
Yeah, why were they both around 4%?
Why are they both around 4%?
I could be butchering the question too, but I think that's about right.
Why are they both 4%? Like, I'm not
The
quite
interest rate,
understanding what the question. Why is the interest rate 4%?
yeah, on the loan.
I don't understand the question. The interest rate could be 5%. Who cares?
Yeah. So in this example, I think it was just an example of it was pegged at 4%. So of course, it's people have their credit scores and stuff. But I was wondering if it was more based off of money right now. There's the Fed rate, the Fed interest rate, and the central bank's
Hmm.
rate, right? And then the
Hmm.
way in which they loan out money to different banks, and then those banks
Hmm.
loan out money to different banks, and then once it gets to the consumer, that's how it ends up at 4, 5, 6, 8%, 12% at Loan Sharks, 16% at Loan Sharks credit cards and stuff. But I thought that was interesting that it couldn't go under 3 or 4%. It was my guess, at a consumer level for a loan, due to the fact that the banks have to make interchange in between, and the central bank is loaning out at an X% rate, and it's lowest it's ever been right now. And then the banks that get the money from them then loan it out, and it ends up at 3-4% minimum to a consumer. That was my
Uh,
guess.
well, the base would be the London interest, like LIBOR,
What's that?
whatever that
I'm
is.
gonna look it up.
That's the interest rate that all banks will use when they lend to each other. And
LIBOR.
so that's the absolute floor, that if you were to borrow anything from a bank, like that's the absolute floor that you would be able to get it at. And so when you get to uh margin loans, which is when you borrow against some sort of asset that you have, usually it'll be like LIBOR plus 2%.
Oh,
So like the
okay.
bank gets a cut. But you
Gotcha.
can always negotiate those things, which is kind of scummy. But
Wow, I didn't know that. That's so interesting. So the LIBOR is
yeah,
basically from the central bank loaning out the base
uh,
base.
I think it's the rate that banks will lend to each other at, and so
Oh
that's why it's
yeah,
always
bank to
changing
bank.
because
Got you.
yeah, because it's kind of like part of this market ecosystem. But
Interesting. I'm just looking right now. LIBOR, other interest rate indexes. There's among the LIBOR is among the most common of benchmark interest rate indexes used to make adjustments to adjustable rate mortgages. And then you've got the LIBOR rate this week, month ago, updated 413.
mhm.
That's so curious. Wow. And do you think these are percentages? So like 2.4% and
Yeah,
stuff? 0.2%. Wow. So it would go to 0.2% loan out at a 6% at a 6 month, I mean. Oh, that's so interesting.
yeah. So right now the
Wow.
1 year LIBOR rate is 0.29%, which is pretty insane. It's like basically free.
Wow. And this is banks, this is only for banks to get. Like no bank or person who's giving out a car loan or a mortgage will give this to a person
Well,
like you or me.
it'll be LIBOR plus two or whatever.
The interchange, yeah, the
Yeah.
taker's fee, right? Like the intermediary. Okay,
Hmm.
cool.
But yeah,
Wow.
but at the same time, like if you if you run a company that has a good balance sheet, then you can be the one going to investors and saying like, hey, I'll give you a convertible loan at like 0%. If our stock goes up, then you can convert that into stock. So like there are like different financial instruments that you could do to, you know, like you could utilize to fund whatever you want to do or like make your money grow or any of that. But
That's
the
so
interesting
cool.
thing is that a lot of these services that at one time were available only to institutional investors are like slowly being more and more available to retail investors. So that's kind of cool. Like we live in
Cool.
this Robin Hood age. Like I remember seeing a Reddit post on Wall Street Bets. Someone was like, I learned how to trade options today. And then you look at the day's earnings and it's like negative 50,000. Like I hope that was photoshopped, right? Like I hope that was fake, but it was very
Oh
funny.
no. That's so funny. That's the classic way. Yeah. When I first learned about crypto, definitely bought in at the high.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
No,
Well, if
not
you held
good.
it, it would have
I didn't know
tripled.
about HODL. I didn't know about, yeah, if I had held it, it would be up quite a bit now. But what was that? The high at that time was 19, 20,000, 19 to 20,000.
Around
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, but people, whoever's listening, just so you know, and I've been explaining this to my friends, and I know we only have a few minutes left too. So um, we also need to get your recipe by the end of this. You're going to add the, but before that, friends, a Bitcoin is not the only thing you can buy. There's actually more divisible units of Bitcoin, just to reiterate. And they're called Satoshis. And a Satoshi is around 0.001 cents. And there are 100 million Satoshis that make up one Bitcoin. And that's one of the coolest things about cryptocurrency, blockchain tech slash Bitcoin specifically, is that there's a very small, there's a very large amount of divisibility so that it can scale down even to fractions of cents. And I think that's very important. So it's been really cool. John, know this. I have sent like 3 of my really good friends Bitcoin Satoshis in the past stretch, like a few bucks worth, to be like, I want to send you your first Satoshis. And they got
Wow.
really excited. So there's a thing, it's called the Exodus wallet. And I was like really impressed. You can buy up to $500 worth for $1, $500 worth of Bitcoin or whatever for $1. And then you can send it via a wallet there. So it's a a soft wallet. So it's like a hot wallet, I guess you would call it in this system. And yeah, you can send it instantly. And the transaction fees are pretty high though right now. Bitcoin transaction fees are like $6-7. It's not very good. So I was like sending less money than the transaction cost, but it was but it was really worth it to see the smiles on their faces. So yeah,
That's cool.
just so people know, Satoshis are really cool. And the goal
cool.
is to, in my opinion, hopefully, try to get to be a Satoshi 1 millionaire. It's I think would be about $550 right now. Work up to it, maybe 600 now due to the price increase, but it's pretty cool place to get to.
Dude.
Or anything that's fair to you, of course, but I think it's a cool one to build up to over time.
Yeah, it's the curse of being on this Bitcoin train right now. I don't know if it's a train, but whatever it is, you never have enough. It's not even because of the it's not quite like money, but it is like, I don't know, like I just whatever. Yeah, because it's like let's say you reach the million Satoshis, you'll be like, oh, but what about 5 million Satoshis?
Yeah, but that's my trick. That's the reason I do that is because it causes people to educate themselves. I think they get more interested in it. So once they kind of are building up to it, what I've seen at least, the conversations have started to become even more detailed, right? We even have that Slack channel and people are asking more questions on them about blockchain and such. But
yeah,
it's been happening a lot more in my own personal life too. Like I'll go to a happy hour with some friends outside and they'll start to ask about blockchain and Bitcoin and be like, what happened? Or some Doge too. And I'm like, yeah, Doge is an interesting one, but it's a good segue. So it's been really fun.
That's fun. I'm so excited to see what gets built.
Let me tell you, dude, I told you, but I'm still proud. I won my first, I was the first time I ever got crypto, Satoshis, Bitcoin without paying for them. I won a blockchain poker tournament and I got 21,000 Satoshis. So like $21 worth of Satoshis.
Whoa.
12.
Dang.
10 to 20. Yeah. I think 21,000 Satoshis. I don't know.
Oh, from that poker website.
Yeah. Blockchain.poker, baby. And you don't even have to create an account. You get 100 free Satoshis, but you have to have 100,000 Satoshis to withdraw them. So I guess they get you there. So it's not there, but it's real enough if I get up to 100,000, I guess, to withdraw them. But I thought it was interesting. Thought it was fun.
How do they make money if they give everyone Satoshis? I guess it's less than it's like less than a cent, but
yeah. I was thinking about that business proposition, and I was thinking that most of the people, I think it's like a fake. It's a Satoshi, but it's not really a Satoshi until it's withdrawn. So they're
that makes sense.
Obfuscating a
they're central banking it.
Yeah.
They're federal reserving it.
Too soon.
Too real.
Too real. I mean, too real.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to say a recipe.
Yes.
What?
I was wanting the pasta one.
The pasta one?
Yeah. Pasta with your herbs. Like you had grilled mushrooms.
Right.
Grilled something. And then you made the homemade pasta sauce. And then you add herbs. And just what are the secret tricks that you've picked up? Oh, master pasta maker John Kim.
All right. So this is my flow. I turn on the water heater. It gets boiling. And then I turn on the fan heat, the pan heat. Put in a little bit of oil, maybe butter. I don't know. I'll chop up some onions, crush some garlic. If I have ginger and if I'm feeling fancy, you can like crush the ginger as well. And then you add all of that in there and it becomes this like kind of like rich flavor. And then on top of that, it depends on what ingredients I have, but good ones would be like mushroom, maybe asparagus. Tomatoes are really good. So like if I do asparagus, I'll cut them into little pieces. And then I'll have this this like base of vegetables. And then maybe for fun, I'll grill some salmon on a cast iron, butter, make it real hot, put salmon skin down, throw some like garlic salt on it. Yeah, flip it over. And then once that's like juicy and cooked, I cut it into smaller pieces, throw that into the vegetables. And then once the water is boiled, throw it into a pot of pasta, spin it around. And then from there, I'll be like, what sauce do I want? So there's a few things you can do. So if you want like the fettuccine Alfredo flavor, then you can do like a lot of butter. And then you get, I think it's mozzarella. I forgot which cheese it was, but you like heat the cheese. And then you also add like it was like cream or milk. I've only done fettuccine Alfredo a few times. And then you can also do like so like all the stuff I put in the vegetables. And then I'll add like pepper, and then I'll add whatever herbs I have. Really good one is the garlic salt from Trader Joe's. They also have this like lemon zest salt thing that is really good. So if you like put a lot of those things on, then it like already creates this base of flavor. And from there it's like to taste. So you just keep adding things. And so I'll add like balsamic vinegar or red wine vinegar, and then like put the pasta back in, and then kind of like swirl everything around. So it's like you have the pasta, you have the salmon, and you have the vegetables. Spin everything around. And yeah. And then if you want to be real fancy, then what you can do is you can get a slow cooker. You put in like chicken breast, and then you put in like chopped onions, and then like some salt and pepper. And then you let it cook for like 5 hours. You open it, you get 2 forks, and then you like shred it.
Shred it out. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you put it back in and let it like soak in its own juices. And then you can use that for part of the pasta because it's very flavorful. So there's like all these different things that you can do. Balsamic vinegar is good because it's I find it helpful to have something vinegary. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think like 20% of the time I'll make something that's just like, this doesn't work, and then the rest of it, and then like 40% of the time it's like, all right, this is fine, I'll eat it, whatever. And then another 40% of the time I'm like, oh, this is good. But it's improvised every single time because I never have 100% of the ingredients. I've just learned to like be like, all right, what's here? Let's run with it.
Gee, that sounds so good. That sounds amazing. My dad's favorite dish is fettuccine Alfredo. I have to make it for him. Don't tell him.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, go for it.
I didn't know about how to make that sauce.
It's actually pretty easy.
Cheese. It's amazing. I never
and
thought
like
about
milk.
it.
Yeah, it's
milk, balsamic. Wow.
Probably not.
I'll rewatch this. Maybe not balsamic. Yeah, for a fettuccine, but I'll rewatch it. I'll rewatch this and then
I'm gonna make it. Find your own way to improvise. And then if you want to be even fancier on top of that, then you can like make your own pasta. But I do not think that the reward versus time spent is worth it, because like you have to fold every single piece of pasta. Like it's worth it if it's like your mom's birthday and you're like cooking for her, but
other than that, not every night.
Yeah, other than that, like the store bought is it's so easy to use, and it's like a little bit, it's like not as good, but then it's not like that bad. Like there's a lot of good store-bought pasta out
Do you have a favorite type, like the angel hair versus the linguine, the penne, I don't know, the whatever else, the wheat ones, the gluten-free ones?
Yeah, penne, classic.
There we are. That's amazing. Well, and with that, everybody, I think this episode has come to a graceful end. Thank you all so much for listening. My name's Hugh. This is John. And
Hi.
we are here to talk about craft, community, and the pursuit of building meaningful careers. So thank you again for tuning in this week, and I hope you all have a great week until next time.
See ya. Peace.